In this video, I'm going to share another Fabric Notebook solution to help with demo or sample or practice data. In this case, this is some mock org data. We'll look at this notebook in a second, but you can find everything in my Hoosier BI file share. The link's in the description. But you can import this notebook and generate your own files based on the available options. Or you can just use one of these ones I've already churned out with this notebook. The number here just tells you how many employees are in that. I have some stuff planned for row level security and performance implications there, some updates to some of the genealogy stuff I've done before, and I haven't really found a good sample people, organization data set that I like, where everybody, you can find mock people data, but finding different ones that all report up through, an org structure so you can do path function, that kind of stuff in demos. I haven't really found a good source for that. So I made one myself. So if I hop over to the notebook here, again, you can import it. It uses the Faker package to generate fake names. You really don't need the second one. It's only if you use the last notebook cell to peek at part of the org chart, but I'll show you that in Power BI Desktop at the end. But basically you can execute this cell. Faker, if you've seen some of my stuff before, I really like doing random generation, generating data in Power Query, and now also in notebooks. But I really like to use seeds when they're available so that you can get repeatable random data. And so the Faker package has the ability to put in a seed. You can change this if you want to change up the names that you get. But this just starts with a empty array here. You can specify how many levels exist in the organization, the number of divisions, so basically the number of people that report to the CEO. And then also at the bottom, you can specify the names of the divisions that they lead, so you can change this up if you want. But basically, I'm picking the first 10 of those, and then after that, it randomly, using the seeds, will give a number of direct reports between, in this case, 5 and 9. You can change that. It assigns all the people the same email domain, so you can change that there. Gives you a range of hire dates if you want to do that. And then also it randomly chooses a date of birth down below as well. So I won't go through the whole thing, but basically you start with hard coding the CEO. This is a top-down thing that just builds it out. So you hard code the CEO, and then it just iterates through all the number of levels that you specify. I said 5 in that case, and then it just builds out the organization from there. Again, I won't go through it all. If someone is going to have direct reports, then they're marked as a supervisor. If they don't, then they're not. Generates unique names, so I've tested this up to 202,000, and it does give me that many unique names and therefore email addresses. And then just builds out by just keep concatenating to the data frame, and it works pretty well. For small data sets, it's very fast. For the 202,000, it took like 18 minutes or so, which is pretty long, so it would obviously struggle if you tried to go too much beyond that. But there's not many companies that are that big, so this should work well on typical scale. So I'm just going to go ahead and run this once. Oh, I probably need to cancel that. I need to do my installs here. All right, so I'm running this, doing the installs first, and then I'll run the generator here, and I'll just change it up a little bit. And what it does is after each level, it'll print out the size of the data frame that it's concatenating in there, so you can keep an eye on progress if you do something that takes a while. You know, this one was smaller. It only ends up with 1,400, almost 1,500 rows employees. So again, you can crank it up and make bigger ones. It gives you an example of the output here. And then when you're ready to write it to CSV so you can use it, you can just run this cell here. You have to put in your workspace ID and Lakehouse ID that you can get from the URL when you're in your Lakehouse. And then it also gets the row count from the final output, and it concatenates that into the CSV file name. And then once you have it in your Lakehouse, you can just use the OneLake File Explorer to get that CSV after you sync it up to take anywhere. And then if you want to, I won't even show it here, but this uses the NetworkX function to just sort of visualize your org chart, but you can see that in other ways as well. I'll show you in desktop in a second. I only have it filtered down to levels 3 and higher, so that it's not too big. You know, that's a lot of employees. So again, hopefully that's useful. Again, if you don't want to generate your own, you can just use these existing files. The biggest one is 202,000. You could easily make smaller ones or increment in between by filtering on just whatever divisions you cared about. And then if you just bring it into desktop, you can just use the web.contents connector with the URL to the CSV file that you're interested in. In this case, you know, I'm using the big file here, and then bringing it in. I did a merge with just the supervisors here so that I could add the supervisor name into the final data as well. I didn't do that in the code. And you see the breakdown by division of, you know, the 202,000 rows. And I'm using this visual here just to confirm that everybody does report up to one person. But again, I have this visual filtered down to only 4 levels so that it's not too much for the visual. And again, like I said before, the names are unique, 202,000 distinct values. Same thing with the emails, and of course the employee IDs. So again, hopefully this is useful to you if you're doing demos or playing with row level security or path function, that kind of stuff. So